Hi, I'm Liz Larson and welcome back to The Art of Frosting. I'm here as always with some cake decorating basics. Today I'm actually inviting you in to see one of my processes, how I actually work. So I have a big quinceanera cake coming up next week. It's a little unusual for me. It's got some unusual colors and it's got a really unusual flower, a hydrangea. So I want to do a test cake in advance so that I can see exactly how this is all going to go together before I go and build a huge cake and end up with it not being so great. So this is my process to test, and you'll see. Unfortunately, in this video, some cakes were harmed. You'll see this video, which is actually, or this cake, excuse me, which is actually a finished product, which is not the cake I started out with. It's the cake, but not the frosting. There was a little accident, which brings me to an idea. I would love it if you guys would send me in your cake wreck stories. If you're a decorator at all, we all have them. Send them in to me at my email, cakedecoratinginstructor@gmail.com, and I'll share some of mine and some of yours on camera. That'll be a lot of fun. If you have pictures, totally send those. Let's get started. I want to show you how to make a hydrangea. For this project, got some pretty strange ingredients here. I've got a big giant marshmallow. I've got some parchment squares. We're going to use a number 124 rose tip and a number 104 rose tip. And I've got these flowers out because today we're going to work on hydrangeas. And this is really what a hydrangea flower looks like. Now this is a whole group that usually makes what you think of as one hydrangea flower. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you've seen me color stripe a lot. You're looking right down into the bag there, and I'm going to stripe up one side, my kind of rosy pink color. Now because this is a test cake, I am having to see if I can mix the colors that I want. For this inside kind of rose color, I've got some pink, a little red, even a little blue. And this is a little unusual. Hydrangeas are one of the only flowers really that have some green, and I want to play around with that, see if I can add that little hint of green. And I'm striping it right up the other side of the bag. You can see that there. And then I'm going to fill the rest of the bag with white. Okay, so we want this to blend. We're just going to shake it right down in there. We'll squeeze it out just a little bit. So you can see I'm holding my bag at my usual 45-degree angle here. And I'm going to start on the turntable with my tip flat. I'm going to start by squeezing and turning the turntable. Release and cut off. So squeeze, turn the turntable, release and cut off. This is really flat flour. And if you want a little lift, you just tip the side of your bag. You want one of those petals to be just a little larger. Cuts off right in like that. My tip is flat here against the table. I'm going to squeeze, begin to turn the turntable, release, squeeze, turn the turntable, release. And you can see that my elbow rotates, my wrist rotates around just a little here. So release, and then we want one of those to be just a little bit bigger, and release. This is our basic flower. I'm going to show you two ways to use this, two techniques for making the hydrangea. First, we're going to pipe on a parchment and transfer them to a plate and stick them in the freezer for about 20 minutes. We'll come back and use those later. Secondly, I'm going to show you how to pipe them right on the cake. So I'm starting on my turntable. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of icing down just to hold my paper, if you can see that. And my icing is going to change as it comes out. Right now it's got just a little bit of red inside, or the pink color, and just the tiniest hint of green on the outside. You want for one flower at least 15 of these. So I've got my big marshmallow, and I'm going to use a really sharp knife and get it cut in half. And that's about as far as it's going to let me cut it, and twist and pull. So I've got 2 halves of a big marshmallow. And you can see I've moved down to a really low turntable. This is an old wood turntable. It works great when I need to work on top of the cake and I need the cake not to be too tall. So I'm going to put my marshmallow right here, right in the middle top of my test cake. That is where my hydrangea is going to go. I'm just taking a little bit of my green, and I'm going to ice the marshmallow so that if you can happen to be able to see through my flowers, you just see a little bit of green. Next, I'm going to start piping on my hydrangea flowers. And I'm going to start with the ones that are on the bottom. And these are actually going to go on to the cake a little bit. Now, I know you're not going to be able to see because I'm turning the turntable, and that's how I get my flower on. So remember how we did it on the plate? That's exactly how I'm doing it here, and I'm continuing to use my turntable to get that shape. I'm spacing them out, and I'm also, you see I'm not going around in a circle. I started over here, I'm moving over here. That's because I want to intersperse my color. As I use my bag, my colors will continue to change. So I want to keep moving around. Now, here's an interesting part. I'm going to get right in here. I'm going to add just a little pad. I want this flower to stick out more flat. See, I'm holding my bag flat against my cake. And you'll see that it overlapped onto this flower. Really important in hydrangeas. They're very overlappy. And again, they're not so regular. So you want to make sure that they don't look really regular, really even. So I'm just going to continue on around this cake, filling in. You can see that I've already got some lighter, some darker. Here's another one where I'm just going to fit one in there. And these are kind of flat. They're not sticking up too much. You want them to stick more out the side. Here's one where I'm going to fit in there and actually just overlap here. Perfect. And one more here. So you can see that some of the petals are actually starting to blend together, and you can't tell where one flower ends and the other begins. I'm going to add one more down here. You want your hydrangea to be kind of a clump, but also there's kind of a flatness to a lot of hydrangeas. So you have to get a balance between the clumpness and the flatness. So there really is my hydrangea ball, and you see that that just took us really about a minute. So now I need to add just a little stamen. It is just a little ball. It's just a dot really, right in there. I'm doing it so you can see, but I can't. Just a dot, just like that. I decided to use white because we've got so much color here. And see if that gives us a little bit of an accent. And check, if you want to add some more flowers at this point you can. In fact, I think I would like to add one here. And you can even add a half flower, which is what I wanted to do right there. Well, I'm back. And if you haven't noticed, this is a completely different cake. And as it happens in cake decorating, my first test cake had a little accident with the side of the freezer. while we were waiting for our other flowers to freeze down. So this is my second test cake, which is actually closer to what my quinceañera cake's gonna look like. So it gave me an opportunity to lighten the colors a little bit. So I will show you how to place the flowers that we froze on the top instead of the side. It'll actually translate a little better anyway. You see how I'm actually gonna use it. And I'm gonna take this opportunity to show you the leaves one more time. I decided to go with a number 104 this time. We're doing a real wide zigzag. I'm going to make my leaves just a little fatter, if you can see, and come down to a point. Come back to the side. Look, my angle is very flat to the side. I'm just side to side zigzag. And in like that. So you can see they're just a little shorter and fatter than they were the last time. You can see that my tip is flat against my cake. Come down to a point, rock back the other direction. And a big flat zigzag. There we go. Now we'll get our flowers on. So I've got my plate of flowers here that are just frozen brown. These take about 30 minutes or half an hour, and you just scrape it off with your palette knife, and you can move it right onto your flower there. Now with frozen flowers, you have to work very quickly, especially if it's warm where you're working, to get them on. Now the nice thing is if your flowers start to get soft, just tuck them back into the freezer for a couple minutes, but you can see how quickly this goes. Just place them around. Now this time, I want my flower clump here to be a little taller, so I'm having it be just a little less spread out than I did the last piped on version. Because this is actually the finished cake, this will be my very top tier, and I want a little height. So this gives me an opportunity to see if I can achieve that with a little tighter arrangement here. And you can see this is going real quickly, just getting these tucked on, but my flowers are starting to get soft. Now, you can do this with buttercream. I'm doing it with whipped topping, as I often do, but buttercream works great. And buttercream actually will stay frozen a little bit longer. Here we go. I think I like that. I like it a little bit taller. The other thing that the frozen ones gives me opportunity is to adjust a little bit if I want to. So I saw one here that I want to move over just a little and place another tight in. So I decided I'm going to come in and use just a little bit of white for my dot here. Also, another change is I decided to use pink under my flower instead of the green, which I like just as well. I like the white for a little bit of relief there. I wanted to show you guys this cake a little up closer for those of you who wanted to see the design. This girl who wanted this cake for her quinceañera, she wants a little bit of an Indian design here. So I did a little bit of scroll work, you can see. I took a marker and used it upside down like a garland marker. Just a few dots, a little bit of Corneli lace, a line in between, and a fleur-de-lis here. And then here it's just a loop, kind of used an E-motion. All of this is done with a number 4 writer. You could even do it with a smaller writer. Down here I actually just used a number 4 writing tip where I did 2 layers of borders, a straight shell, and then a little bit of a braid just on top of it with much less pressure so it's smaller. So I get a nice, kind of an intricate looking border here but it's actually quite simple. Well, that was fun and interesting. Unfortunately, did lose one cake, but I like the way this one turned out better. I don't think it's exactly going to be my finished product, but really close. So for you decorators, this is a good way to do it. A small test cake is a good way to sort out all the problems that there might be on an unusual or difficult cake. And for those of you who are into the flowers, so many of you asked me to do more, try this hydrangea. Send me your photos. Let me see how it worked out. Now, one thing I didn't mention in this video, but I should have, is that hydrangea can be in many, many, many colors. So try them all. I don't think I've seen a color that hydrangea doesn't come in. There's some rare ones. So anyway, you can always find me at The Art of Frosting on Facebook. You can find me on my blog at www.theartoffrosting.blogspot.com. And find me at my email address, cakedecoratinginstructor@gmail.com, for your pictures, your great stories, and also those really serious cake decorating questions. Please email me there. Lots more to come. We'll see you guys all again real soon. Bye. Thanks for watching.